What's up, my explosive athletes and vertical jump enthusiasts? Today we're going to go over plyometrics and how to train for them. First off, let's understand the difference between bodybuilders, weightlifters, and explosive athletic performance. Bodybuilders have an aesthetic purpose, right? They want to look good. So they focus on building bigger, defined muscles with as little body fat as possible, while at the same time trying to look symmetrical. Weightlifters are trying to lift as much weight as possible or get as strong as possible. And there's two main competitions for it. Power lifters, which focus on the squat, the deadlift, and the bench press, and they try to lift as much weight as possible in each of those events. And Olympic weightlifters, which try to pick up as much weight as possible going from the ground to overhead. And they do this via the clean and jerk and the snatch. Now, aside from those, in almost every other sport, rapid bursts of power are frequent, where the more explosive an athlete is, the bigger their advantage. Sprinting, jumping, changes of direction or agility all have plyometric components to them. So, what is plyometrics? By definition, plyometrics have a rapid stretch and contraction of the muscles where the intent is to increase power. So here you can include all forms of jumping, including jump ropes, box jumps, hurdle jumps, different forms of sprinting, and different agility drills, cone drills, ladder drills, and many other different movements involving sports activity or performance. Now, unlike weightlifting, plyometrics are more associated with lower loads or lower resistance, but much faster movements. This type of training focuses more on explosive athletic performance. And there's two main physiological things or components that allow it to take place. The first component is the muscle joint complex itself, or the structure or anatomy and physiological function of the tissue itself during active muscle contraction. The second one is all the neurological and neuromuscular components that take place in order for a muscle contraction to even happen and to happen smoothly and precisely. A solid strength training program will help you develop the first one, the components, the tissue, the structure itself, and anatomical and physiological adaptations. Now, plyometrics are more neuromuscular in nature. Now, because there is so much involved in how you train someone for strength, neuromuscular power and adaptations, or how the brain is involved in athletic performance and explosiveness, I'm going to cover a lot more of this in detail as we continue to provide videos for you. So make sure you subscribe and hit the notification button so you're one of the first to be notified and benefit from the videos as they come out. When you train plyometrics, both intra and intermuscular coordination are improved, meaning how efficient and proper the muscle is working within itself and how it works and communicates with other muscles as well. These types of neuromuscular coordination facilitate the accuracy and speed of neuronal communication to fast-twitch muscle fibers, which are necessary for the rapid muscle contractions that take place and are key for optimal usage of the stretch shortening cycle that take place during plyometric movements and exercises. You can train the stretch shortening cycle directly or indirectly. To train it directly, you should train the full stretch shortening cycle in each movement that you do. And you can implement direct training methods to the stretch shortening cycle in three different ways. You can use short ground contact times, mid ground contact times, and long ground contact times. Short ground contact times involve anything less than 0.2 seconds. For example, sprinting. Mid-level ground contact times could be between 0.25 seconds and 0.5 seconds. The king of short ground contact times is sprinting. Other than that, you can use very short ground contact times jumping over hurdles and doing death jumps where you get out of the floor very fast. Mid-level ground contact times include counter movement jumps, box jumps, hurdles for height, and you can also train the stretch shortening cycle longer, which would be a full vertical jump approach, death jumps for height, and jumps using weights or elastic bands or a combination of them. To train the stretch shortening cycle indirectly, as far as the vertical jump is concerned, you would break it up into its three phases: the eccentric portion, the isometric portion, and the concentric portion. To train the eccentrics, you can use a controlled tempo, you can use bands, you can use chains, and you can even use weight releasers. Specific angles and holds could be used to train the isometric portion of it, as well as rhythmic or oscillating type of movements, and increasing your rate of force development would increase the concentric part. In the next video, I'll give you some ideas of how I use this for myself and for my athletes.